The 2025 Australian federal budget has just dropped, and I'm here to bring you through all the key tax and super changes that will affect you. And spoiler alert, there are tax cuts which are going to affect nearly all Australian taxpayers. So let's jump right into those, and what they've announced is tax cuts starting from the 1st of July 2026. So what they'll be doing is reducing the 16-cent tax bracket. So that's the one that runs from the $18,201 to $45,000 to 15 cents. So a 1 cent drop there. 12 months later, on the 1st of July 2027, they're going to reduce that further to 14 cents. So for someone earning $45,000 or above, that'll be a $268 tax cut from 26/27, and then $536 in total from 27/28. So this really isn't much of a move. I'm really surprised they've brought this in. I'd much rather see them adjust the brackets with inflation and wage growth to actually reflect what the brackets truly should be, rather than these tiny little changes. It's pretty measly. To me, this seems like something where they're trying to get votes, trying to say tax cuts for everyone, but they're so minor and really just fiddly changes that I don't really think were needed. I would love to know your thoughts though, because everyone does love a tax cut. Is this actually what you hope? Does it really make much of a material difference to you? Now, this is a tax cut, so what it would be is change to the tax table. So you see this change every single week in your pay, but we're still talking over 15 months away before this would come into account, so nothing that's going to really help you tomorrow or anytime soon. Now, the next one is cutting student debt. The government have talked about this a lot, and this one will be one that requires legislation to be passed, so likely post-election. But what they're proposing is to cut all outstanding help/student debts by 20%. So this would be a lump sum, looking at a certain date, saying, do you have a debt? We're wiping 20% off of it. Now, the other key change when it comes to student debts is they're looking to increase the minimum level of income you have to earn before you repay. So for 24/25, it was $54,435. They're looking to increase that to $67,000. So quite a jump up. Now, I'm really not sure about these things. I don't know whether we should be just wiping amounts off student debts. People did get into these debts knowing about them. It's a very controversial topic, and I'm not going to go too deep into it. Now, when it comes to the increasing of the minimum repayments, again, I'm a bit conflicted on this, because what it means is that people have to earn more and more and more before they start to pay back these debts. But that's not always a good thing for people, because quite often then by the time they're earning these incomes, they're then taking on home loans, and it's affecting them more, and they haven't even made any repayments towards their debt. It can be quite frustrating because people don't understand how these debts really work, and I'd much rather see them work on the education when it comes to student debts rather than these types of reforms. Now, the Medicare low income threshold is increasing. This is something that should, again, happen every single year, in my opinion, based on wage growth and inflation, but what they're doing here is increasing it from 1st of July by 4.7%. So this is purely just the low income threshold before you have to pay the normal Medicare levy. It's nothing to do with the Medicare levy surcharge, but still can be helpful for those, especially those on low incomes. But again, I think these things should just happen all the time rather than be things that they put in the budget trying to win vote. Now, there is energy bill relief. This is very similar to what they've had in the past, but they're extending this provision here. So every household and around 1 million small businesses will receive two $75 rebates off their energy bills through to the 31st of December 2025. These will apply directly to your electricity bill, as has been happening over the last 12 months. And it's really just an extension of what they did previously. Look, these things help with cost of living. Again, with an election coming up, it doesn't surprise me they're announcing these kind of things. These are definitely with the aim to help with cost of living and, of course, win the government votes. One other key thing from the budget that will affect small business is the limiting of non-compete clauses. And I actually quite like this one. So what they're saying is for people on low and middle income, which they class as up to $175,000 currently, you will not be allowed to put a non-complete clause in. So this means that if you're working at a hairdressing firm and they say that you can't go work for someone else, they will not be allowed to do that. So it's obviously encouraging people to be able to move around freely, go to higher paying jobs if the opportunity is there, or go out and start their own business. I quite like this because I think a lot of people get stuck in industries and they're not allowed to move to competitors or to go start on their own. This will take that clause away and allow people to go do that. Now, obviously, there can be some cases where this might be a bit of a challenge and could cause people to have issues retaining employees. So it'll be interesting how that plays out. But typically for low and middle income earners, you're probably not that vital, especially to larger businesses. I think you should have a non-compete clause. So I think it's quite a good thing for the economy and good thing for workers to not make them feel so trapped. Now, there was nothing that I could find announced about superannuation, which is probably not that surprising because superannuation measures probably aren't the things that are front of mind when it comes to elections for a lot of people, but it wouldn't surprise me if we see more of them over the next few budgets. Instead, this budget was really focused on getting tax cuts for everyone so they could promote that, but to me, they're so minuscule, they're not going to make a major impact, and they're again targeting the wrong things. I would just love to see a government come in and have the guts to actually make some proper tax reforms and make things make more sense. Have our brackets go up with wage growth rather than trying to bring in these measures that are just there to win votes. I'd love to hear your opinion though. What do you think of this year's budget? Leave a comment down below. And what better time while you're thinking about tax and thinking about super and thinking about your finance than to watch this upcoming video, because if I can just borrow 5 more minutes of your time, I'm going to help you save thousands on your taxes. I thank you for watching this one, and I hope to see you over there.